माननीय सभासदों, माननीय सभापति जी।
Bills for consideration and return. The appropriation number 5 Bill 2022, the appropriation number 4 Bill 2022 to be discussed together. Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman to move motions for consideration of the following bills. The appropriation number 5 Bill 2022 and the appropriation number 4 Bill 2022.
Sir, I rise to move that the bill to authorize payment and appropriation of certain further sums from and out of the Consolidated Fund of India for the services of the financial year 2022-23 as passed by the Lok Sabha be taken into consideration. Should I say the other one
Would you
also?
like to speak?
No, sir, I'll do it at the end along with my reply.
So motion moved. Honorable P. Chidambaram.
Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, you'll pardon me, I was very reluctant to open the debate, and I'll tell you why. In recent past, the lead speaker says his piece, the other members of the opposition say their pieces, the Honorable Finance Minister says his or her piece, and then the House returns the bill. Where is the debate on the issues that we raise? Where are the answers to the questions that we ask? I would humbly request you to make a note of the issues that we raise, the questions that we ask, and please ensure that those from the Treasury benches or the Honorable Minister deals with those issues and deals with those questions. Otherwise, this becomes a meaningless ritual, especially in a money bill, because even if we don't return the bill, in 15 days it is deemed to have been returned. But I think it's very important that the issues that we raise, the questions that we ask, must be answered. With that, with a sense of apology, I open that with that comment, and I'll move on to the appropriation bill and the supplementary demands. I intend to speak for a very short time. There's ample time for colleagues in my party to speak. I have 6 points, and I'll deal with them briefly. In the supplementary demands for this year, the government is asking authorization for 3,25,756 crore as cash outgo. There is another 1,10,180 crore, which will be additional expenditure, but will be matched by additional savings, so we can leave that out. Out of the cash outgo, they're asking for defense capital expenditure for construction of strategic and border roads of 500 crore. Let me say at the outset, all of us grant you 500 crore. We will happily grant you more if necessary. Whatever is required for defense forces, whatever is required for capital expenditure for construction of strategic or border roads or buying equipment, we'll happily grant it because we know that it's for the national security. But I'll come to this point last. Before we grant, we want to raise a few questions. And I hope that before the bill is returned, the Honorable Finance Minister or anyone from government will answer those questions. Let me move on to my first 5 points. The first point is the GDP for 2022-23 at current prices, according to the budget estimates was 258 lakh crore. 258 lakh crore assumes 11.1% nominal growth over last year's GDP at current prices. If the growth is 11.1% in current prices or nominal growth, I have only two small questions. What will be the inflation rate and what will be the real growth? I remember having asked this question when the budget discussion took place. We are now nearly 9 months into the financial year. I did not get an answer when the budget discussion took place. I sincerely hope I will get an answer. How does this 11.1% break up? What is the inflation and what is the real growth? Now, my second point is, if the Honorable Finance Minister and the government wish to spend 3,25,756 crore, we understand that there is a need for more expenditure. Now, where will the government find this 3,25,756 crore? As far as I know, there are only three ways. A, the government has already collected money in excess of the budgeted revenue receipts. They already have 3,25,786 crore, and they're coming to the House saying, I already have this money, I'm spending it. That's route A. Now, the second way is to borrow. You can borrow an additional 3,25,786 crore and say, I'm borrowing and I'm spending. There's a third way, a little more technical, but I'm sure the House will appreciate it. Government expects nominal growth to be more than 11.1% shown in the budget. If the nominal growth is more than 11.1%, the GDP will be more than 258 lakh crore. The denominator will rise. Therefore, you can borrow and spend another 3,25,786 crore without breaching the fiscal deficit of 6.4. My second question is, again, a very simple question. Does the government propose to take route A? It already has the money. Or it proposes to take route B? It will borrow more. Or it will take route C, that it expects the GDP to be higher and therefore the fiscal deficit will be met at 6.4%. I want a specific answer. Is it A or B or C? And I'm willing to be corrected, none of the above. I'm willing to accept even an answer, none of the above. Is it A or B or C, or none of the above? My third question is, this is a matter of some concern. According to the budget, the gross tax revenue is 27,57,820 crore. Of this, corporation tax, this is on corporates, is 7,20,000 crore. Income tax is 7 lakh crore. Now, if you do the proportions, you will find that corporate tax accounts for 26.1% of the gross tax revenue. When this government came into office in the previous year, 2013-14, the gross tax revenue was 11,55,838 crore, of which corporate tax was 3,93,677 crore. As a proportion, corporate tax in the gross tax revenue was 34%. Now, what does this mean? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm simply giving the numbers. It's for the House to decide whether this is the right path to take or the wrong path to take. The corporates contributed 34% of gross tax revenue. Today, the corporates are contributing 26% of gross tax revenue. Why has this great benefit been conferred to the corporates? So they contribute 8% less of the gross tax revenue. Who's contributing the others? The rest. The rest is contributed by income taxpayers, middle class, upper middle class, other income taxpayers, excise payers or GST payers, which is you and I, customs duty, which is passed on to the common people, cesses, taxes on petrol and diesel. That accounts today for 74%. Corporates are only contributing 26%. 9 years ago, corporates were contributing 34%. It is because this government has conferred a huge bounty on bonanza on corporates. Is that fair or not fair is for the House to decide. And after conferring this bounty, I hear the Honorable Finance Minister go to the FICCI, go to CII, go to Chambers of Commerce and say, please invest. Why are you not investing? In fact, in one meeting, I saw her say quite legitimately, sort of mildly scolding them for not investing. If God is in his heaven, the BJP is in power, and everything is hunky-dory, and the climate is extremely propitiate for investment, why, despite conferring a huge bonanza on the corporate sector, why are they not investing? That's my question. Why are they not investing? Private investment is low, sluggish. Why are they not investing? If all is well, according to the government, why is the private sector not investing? Despite conferring an 8% bounty on the corporate sector. You know what this 8% means, sir? 8% of 27 crore will be almost 1% is 10% is 2.7 lakh crore. 8% will be about 2.5 lakh crore. 2.5 lakh crore is the bonanza conferred on the corporate sector, yet they are not investing. My question is, why? And I want an answer so that we can be enlightened why the private sector is not investing. My fourth point is, in 1990-91, GDP at constant prices was about 25 lakh crore. That is when, after that, liberalization started. In 12 years, this GDP doubled to 50 lakh crore. In 10 years, it doubled again to 98, 99 lakh crore. So the first time the GDP doubled was, it took 12 to 13 years. Second time, 10 years. It doubled. Now, technically, therefore, one would expect, and this is a fair expectation, a government that has been in power for nearly 9 years should double the GDP in 10 years. If we are able to double the GDP in difficult times, 91 to 2003-4, that period is attributable to Mr. Narasimha Rao's stewardship and Mr. Vajpayee's stewardship. And then we were able to double it again in 10 years under Dr. Manmohan Singh's leadership. This government should double it again in 10 years. If 100 lakh crore should have become 200 lakh crore or should become 200 lakh crore in 23-24 when this government completes 10 years of government, will it complete 200 lakh crore? I know the answer for myself, but I want the Honorable Finance Minister and the government to answer that for the benefit of the members. Will you be able to double the GDP which you inherited by the time you demit office in 10 years? If you are able to double the GDP, I salute you. I don't want to make any prediction. I don't want to be a doomsday prophet. I wish them well, but please answer my fourth question. Will you be able to double the GDP that you inherited by the time you demit office in 10 years? Very good. My fifth point is, I mean, this is something which the Honorable Finance Minister has spoken, so it's nothing new. Of the 4 engines of growth, government expenditure is robust, and much of the 3,25,786 crore will go into government expenditure, which is good. I only wish that the expenditure is efficient and the outcome is as good as the expenditure. But that is a different matter. But what about the other 3 engines of growth? We know that private investment is sluggish. Just see 2 graphs in the Indian Express today. Private investment is sluggish. They are certainly not summoning their animal spirits. I don't know why it's called animal spirits. They should be human spirits. But somehow we have got used to calling it animal spirits of investors. Whatever spirits, as long as it's not alcoholic spirits. Why are they not summoning their spirits to invest? We know it's down. Private consumption is down. You can't deny that. High-end items are being sold. Mercedes-Benz cars and BMW cars. That is being sold. But what about consumption by the poor and the middle class? If consumption is good, why should 1/3 of our children be stunted? Why should over half of our women be anemic? These are all accepted statistics in government publications. Government's National Family Welfare Survey says these numbers. So consumption is low, except the high-end items of the very, very rich. Consumption is low. And the 4th engine, exports are low. The trade deficit is increasing. Our trade deficit with China alone is 73 billion. $73 billion with one country. Our trade deficit, the numbers are there in today's Indian Express. The graph of exports and imports and the gap known as trade deficit is higher. So if 3 of your 4 engines are not growing, why? There must be an explanation, there must be an answer. And has the government taken into account when many of the world's leading economies are headed towards a recession today. Britain is in a recession. Germany is in recession. The US is in a technical recession, except that their employment growth is robust. France and Italy may escape recession. Japan is, as you know, is quite happy with modest growth. China is growing at only 3.3% this year. Therefore, many of the countries are heading towards a recession. Leading economies are heading towards a recession. Welcome, Mr. Chairman. If many of the countries are headed towards leading towards a recession, my question is simple, without blaming anyone. Does the government take into account, reckon the fact that the world's leading countries are heading towards a recession? If they are leading towards a recession, and if 3 of your engines are sputtering, how do you propose to deal with the situation? How do you propose to stimulate growth? This is my 5th question. Sir, you have come when I'm completing my 5 questions, but there is still one left, and that's the most important one. And I hope that
I'm so glad the most important is kept us.
I said at the first that I will keep it in the hope that you will come at that time.
Mr. Chidambaram is very senior. I claim to be senior to many, but he is the one acknowledged more senior.
Now, I said at the opening, the government is asking 500 crore for defense capital expenditure for strategic roads. And I said, without a dissent, without a murmur, the government will gladly grant the government 500 crore or even more. But I want answers to a few questions. These are strategic and border roads in the Northeast, is what the supplementary grant says. Now we know who is the threat in the northeastern border, northern and eastern border. So our questions are very simple questions, which we are asking again and again. Has China conceded anything on hot springs? Have the Chinese agreed to discuss the friction points in the Doklam Junction and in the Debcham Plains? You are creating more buffer zones. What does a buffer zone mean? According to our information, a buffer zone means there will be a no petrol area. China will not petrol. India will not petrol. Does it mean that we are no longer petroling? This is a supplementary demand. Modi ji, you were 13 years finance minister. I can speak on any subject when the demand is there for money. You know the rule. I want to know.
I'm sure anything and everything does not include anything and everything.
I'm not criticizing anyone. I'm asking questions.
No, I'll make only one suggestion. During your long career, you have had the occasion to hold very high positions. And by virtue of that situation, you are well in the know of governance issues. Any diversion,
I'm not
or
diverting
even
the subject.
even
I'm asking
settling
on strategic and
the
border roads.
No, as long as it was on that,
That's all
it
I'm
was fine.
That's all.
Sir, it went little beyond.
That's all I'm speaking on. That's all I'm speaking. Pointed questions. Pointed questions. Only on that point. Does it mean that we are no longer patrolling in areas where we wear petroleum. Number four, I'm not yielding. Number four, the US Defense Department spokesman has said, and our spokesman have also said, that there is massive building of infrastructure on the other side of the LAC, and equally, our government is also building massive infrastructure on the other side. Now, what is this infrastructure on the other side? I don't want you to tell me what is the infrastructure on our side. That may be a defense secret. But what is the infrastructure that they are building on the other side? That your satellites will be capturing pictures. We know that they've built roads, bridges, settlements, helipads, communications. Now, please tell us, what is the massive infrastructure that China is building? And I don't want you to tell us what is the equally matching infrastructure that you're building on our side. I don't want you to tell us. And finally, I saw a video clip and I was quite happy of the Honorable Prime Minister meeting the President of China at Bali. And they were shaking hands. I'm
Point of order.
Can I have the mic on, sir? Rule number
Point of order.
110 under legislation scope of debate. The discussion on a motion that the bill be passed shall be confined to the submission of arguments either in support of the bill or for rejection of the bill. In making his speech, a member shall not refer to the details of the bill further than is necessary for the purpose of his arguments, which shall be of a general character. So what is being mentioned by the honorable member, Mr. Chidambaram, is beyond the scope. We are not discussing legislation on border security. So this is completely unnecessary. I request that these remarks be expunged, sir.
The honorable member has raised an issue pertaining to applicability of Rule 110. Frankly, this rule has a rationale, and this rule does indicate contours within which deliberation has to take place. It says the discussion on a motion that the bill is passed shall be confined to the submission of arguments either in support of the bill or for the rejection of the bill. In making his speech, a member shall not refer to the details of the bill further than is necessary for the purpose of his arguments, which shall be of a general character. Without getting into details, I would urge the honorable member with his experience to take note of the essence and spirit of the rule.
Yes. We are
And also be cognizant that defense issues, security issues are of critical consequence.
correct. I'm not asking for secret information.
Sir, 1 second.
I'm not asking any secret information.
A man at your level has to set afloat an ecosystem whereby on security sensitive issues we rise to a different level.
I have not asked for it. I have said what they don't have to tell us. I've even said that. Now, the last question is, I was very happy to see the Honorable Prime Minister meet the President of China in Bali. And I saw a video, they're shaking hands. Our Prime Minister did the talking. In that short clip, I did not see President Xi say anything. I just want to know if, without getting into the details, was the border situation discussed? Just yes or no. Don't tell me what you discussed. Just tell me yes or no. Was the border discussion discussed?
This is beyond.
You are asking 500 crore for the border. You are asking 500 crore for the border, and I'm entitled to ask this question. I'm entitled to ask this question.
Mr. Chidambaram, uh, like,
Sir,
like
Parliament is not a chamber to
sir,
censor.
like a shrewd senior advocate who uses courtcraft to get into the terrain by saying, I'm not getting into the terrain. Sir, you have made reflection about our Prime Minister.
I've said nothing.
No, three things you have said.
I said,
Three
I
things-
don't want to tell me
three
what
things-
he said.
Sir, three things you have said. One, that the Honorable Prime Minister said something, there was no response. I have developed.
I'm not asking what he said.
One second.
I didn't ask for that.
One second.
No, no, please,
No,
Mr. Chairman.
one second.
Please don't misinterpret me.
I
did not ask what he said. Yes.
Give me a minute. I have developed a practice here that honorable members, when they are engaged in debate, make reference to documents, videos. You may place that on record, on the table of the House.
I do not wish to know
No,
what
that
he
may be
said.
placed on the table of the House so that we'll examine it and go about it.
The video clip did not have a audio. It's only a video clip which is available in all channels.
No,
It's a
sir,
video clip for
a
a few
refer-
seconds. I want to know. I want to know. Did they
reference-
discuss China? Why is there such a reluctance
Sir,
to say?
sir.
Did the Honorable Prime Minister discuss yes or no? Got
No,
an
no,
opportunity
I
to
am on-
discuss China with President
I am
Xi?
on a different point.
Answer is yes or no. Answer is yes or
One
no. That's all.
second. One second.
We have a right to know. We have a right to know. We have a right to know, sir. What are they hiding? What are they hiding from the country? We have a right to know. Whether our Prime Minister did raise the Chinese border issue or not, we have a right to know.
Let him speak out.
He's not being
He is
allowed to
already
speak.
speaking.
I'm asking. He's not being allowed to speak.
Come on, settle down.
Interruption from
Settle
there,
down.
interruption from here.
I don't want to know.
Settle down.
I don't wish to know
Settle down.
what he
Settle
said.
down. Settle
I
down,
don't
please.
wish to know the details of this conversation.
Let me.
When they disturb our speaker, you don't tell them. You should tell them also.
You are casting aspersions on the
You should
chair.
tell them also.
You are casting aspersions on the chair.
We are not casting any aspersions.
Speaker, sir.
One second. The honorable member repeatedly cast aspersions on the chair.
No, I'm not
This
asking
says
this
to
person,
please
sir,
take your
but-
seat.
but- no,
Take
one
your
second,
seat. Take your
one
seat.
second, sir, one second.
Take your seat.
One second, sir, one second.
Take your seat.
One second, sir.
No. Take your seat. Take your seat. First take your
When
seat.
they are disturbing, they
First-
should also be
first-
asked to keep quiet, sir.
First, take your seat.
Sorry.
You directly made an allegation against the
No
chair
allegation, sir. No
that
allegation.
the chair
They are disturbing,
is
sir.
not controlling
They are
them.
disturbing, sir.
Number
They are
one.
disturbing
Number
our
two,
speaker, sir.
Mr. Chidambaram, you have a long parliamentary career. I request you that the document to which you have made reference and the document which you are sought to describe, the video, that may be placed on the table of the House.
It is a public, in the public domain. It's in the public. Sir, forget the video.
No,
Forget
why
the video.
forget? You have made a reference, it is on record.
Forget the video.
No,
We
no.
know,
No,
we
no.
know that
You
the
know the
Honorable
parliamentary
Prime
practice.
Minister met President Xi in Bali. I only want to know a simple question. Did they have an opportunity to discuss China? That's all. There's no document there. There's no document there. We know that President Xi was there. We know Honorable Prime Minister was there. We know that they met in Bali. All I want to know is, did they get an opportunity? Did they get an opportunity to discuss China? Answer is yes or no. That's all. I'm not asking anything. So let me conclude. So I have raised in your absence, when the deputy chairman was occupying the chair, 5 questions, and I was waiting for you to come to raise this 6th question. I am my time, sir. My time. Is it giving a ruling now? Is he giving a ruling now?
One second. One second. One second. Please take your seat. 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 Everyone must be on the seat. Please take your seat. Take your seat.
Sir,
Now,
therefore,
one second.
I'm concluding.
Before you conclude. Before you conclude.
I'm concluding.
One second.
I'm concluding now.
Take your seat. Take it. Take your seat. Take your seat. Take your seat. Take it. Honorable members, it is very painful. Every time we send a signal from the upper house, that generates disillusionment. People are worried. Is it the way the upper house should be conducting itself? Are we going to send such kind of signals? And I am little surprised the kind of body language aggression I have to face. That is not the style of anyone else. We don't have to act in group. We don't have to be on our feet. I try to accommodate everyone with whatever one has to say. If I have used my authority to issue a direction, that is based on my long experience. I was involved with parliamentary affairs 3 decades ago. This is the wholesome practice. If an honorable member has chosen to make reference to a document, the chair is well within its rights to direct the member to place that document on the table of the House. And that for a simple reason that members are entitled to analyze it, assess it, and they take it forward. I am sure the honorable member will keep that in mind and do it during the course of the proceedings today. Please continue.
Sir, therefore, I sincerely hope that although this House can only recommend on a supplementary demand and an appropriation bill, since a large amount of 3,25,756 crore, we don't grudge if it's for relevant expenditure. We are granting this amount. I would sincerely hope that the government's treasury benches and the Honorable Finance Minister will enlighten us on the questions that I've raised. Yes. Otherwise, as that famous saying is, we are in the same advanced stage of wisdom at the end of the debate as we were when we began the debate. Thank you. Very good.
And I was listening to you in my chamber. So I am fully updated with the other issues also. Shri Sushil Kumar Modi. Shri Sushil Kumar Modi.